The following is a segment from the television series In Search of the Divine, produced by the Sisters of St. Joseph of Crondelet, St. Paul Province. For more information, visit www.insearchofthedivine.org. If you ask Father Jan Michael Joncas to describe himself, he'll say things like,
large family, I'm eldest of 7, did an undergraduate degree in English, got ordained in 1980, associate pastor at Presentation, then 3 years as education coordinator and campus minister at Newman Center, then 4 years of doctoral studies in Rome. My real work is as a priest, and probably as a priest, professor, educator.
What's interesting is that he doesn't mention the fact that he's also a musician and a composer.
Yeah, that's avocation, not vocation for me.
You dwell in the shelter of the Lord, who abide in his shadow for life.
It shouldn't have been successful. It's a very wide-ranging song. It demands the congregation to sing an octave and a fourth, which is really, it's as big as the Star-Spangled Banner, which is also really hard to sing for most people. There's some tricky rhythmic things in it, but it's somehow connected with people.
Mike, as he prefers to be called, wrote On Eagle's Wings in response to the death of a friend's father. But it was a while before he came to fully appreciate the composition's impact.
When people started stopping me to say, you know, you don't know me, but blah, 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 blah. And then the second is as it started to be translated into other languages. You know, I'd get a request, can we do this in Spanish? Can we do this in French? Can we do this in Polish? Honestly, the weirdest thing, Luciano Pavarotti's funeral. I'm watching it, right? Rai Uno, the Italian television system, is broadcasting it from Modena. And they get to the part of the ritual where they're going to sprinkle the casket with holy water and then bear it out of the church, commendation rite. The choir soprano stands up and starts singing Suagli di Aquila. And it's just wild to hear, you know, your song being done at an event like that in a language that you understand, but that you never wrote it in. So I think that probably really indicated it had gone around.
Whether it's through Mike's academic vocation or his musical avocation, his search is ultimately about mystery.
I think very, very early, as far back as I can trace it, I've had a sense, and this gets tongue-tied for me, but a sense of a kind of overwhelming mystery at the core of things. And it's all-encompassing. It integrates, but it's very mysterious to me. The theologian in me, right, wants to name this as a God experience and, you know, talk about, you know, the triune God and all that. But I think at the level of spirituality, it's just plunging into something that really cannot be expressed. Which probably, you know, now that I think of it, it's probably why I go to music. Because there's a sense of the text is limiting, and then you simply enter this world of pure sound, and you're drawn beyond text into something else.
But mystery has a way of presenting itself in unique ways, and right in the middle of his life, filled with lyric, liturgy, and learning, everything changed. 2003
to 2004, I lost that academic year. I was teaching at Notre Dame in the spring of 2003, and had been asked by the sisters at St. Mary's College, the sister school, to be someone who'd preside over the liturgies for Triduum. So it's now Holy Thursday, I'm in the midst of celebrating Mass, and I know something's a little off. I was sweating like crazy, and I couldn't lift the chalice and the paten, the cup and bread plate. I couldn't lift them where I would normally lift them. And I thought, this is odd. By Easter Sunday, I drove myself to Memorial Hospital in South Bend. Again, completely providential. I got admitted. Within 2 hours, I couldn't walk. And on Wednesday of Holy Week, I got airlifted from Memorial Hospital to Mayo Clinic. And within 20 minutes, the doctor there, being very careful, he said, I'm just a resident, so I need this to be confirmed. But I think you have Guillain-Barre disease or syndrome, and you will get better, but you'll get a lot worse first. So that's all I remember for 2 weeks. I spiraled down that day, had to be intubated. My friends tell me that I struggled against that, so they then sedated me, and I think the sedation is also amnesiac. What I do remember from that period is a whole series of really, really psychotic dreams that are magnificent. I mean, with lots of religious overtones. At the worst, I could still blink one eye, and that was enough to be able to communicate with people.
Stay tuned, and we'll bring you more of Mike Joncas in just a minute. Welcome back to our conversation with Mike Joncas. He had become an intellectual prisoner, physically confined by an attack to his immune system that stripped the protective coating off the peripheral nerves in his body. During that time, the rich tradition of ritual prayer he had come to love was taken from him, leading him to delve into the only connection he had available, personal prayer.
I could start praying for whoever had come in that day, doctors, nurses, friends, whatever. And then I do this systematic kind of bouncing back and forth. The people in the room next to me on one side, the people in the room next to me on the other side, everybody on the ward, everybody on this floor, everybody on the floor above me, everybody on the floor below me. Then it just kept expanding, right? All those who are suffering. The best part, I'd fall asleep. Just fall asleep praying, which is a lovely thing. So I think my spiritual life got transformed by having Guillain-Barre. I think I learned how fragile people are. That we do not bring ourselves into existence. We don't. We have to tap into energies that are a lot deeper than the ones we're in control of, and that those energies are what keep us going.
His newfound awareness has changed him deeply.
There is one big change. I'm praying people a lot more. People come to communion, and you see their hands, and how much life story is there, and then to kind of carry those images with you. Praying people. Prior to that time, it would be relatively easy for me to judge both myself and other people. You're not living up to your own standards would be my stance for me. You're not being the best that you can be, the Army slogan, when I looked at other people sometimes. Right? And then this shifted. I now have a stance that says most people are doing the best they can most of the time. Admittedly, there can be solidarity with evil and all of that. But I find it much less easy to be judgmental. Yeah, it's changed how I'm a priest. It also changed how I'm a theologian and an academic. The priest thing means that in some ways the rituals that I'm expected to do in the name of the church have become even more important. They operate at levels that I was not aware of before. Even that's hard language. It's more like a discipline of receptivity, of letting whatever that is out. I was really aware of this when recording a song for an album a few years ago. I had taken a Middle English poem in which the Virgin is singing to the Christ child, and the refrain is something like, "Bye, lullaby, sweet babe," sang she, and rocked him sweetly on her knee. And I think I have to solve a compositional problem. I want a mezzo-soprano singing the Virgin stuff, but then I want women's voices singing the chorus. Oh boy, and here, I figured it out. I'm going to start with a unison line, move into 2 parts, then they'll sing in 4 parts. Oh, 4 parts. But I think what I'm going to give them is a quartal harmony chord rather than a nice triad. It's just quartal. And I think I'm solving a compositional problem, right? Harp, flute, oboe, background. And then I'm standing in the booth when we recorded for the first time. I'd never heard it. Right? And I start to hear this, and I'm just shattered. Because that one sequence, when we get to the women's voices in the back, there's a kind of dissonance that's set up. Who hast vouchsafed from on high to visit us who were forlorn? And suddenly, it's the sound of all women keening, over their dead. It's just there. It's just there. I had no conscious awareness that was... I thought I was solving a compositional problem, but there was something else going on. For me, that's the inspiration stuff. You don't know. You work hard. You use all the intellectual skill you've got, and then discover there's something going on here that I don't control, that I'm not in, that I'm gifted is your word, that I'm gifted to be in touch with, but I'm not in charge of it.
This increased sensitivity to the many levels at which spirit works may sound complex, but for Mike, the results suggest that his journey is bringing him to a new understanding of what it means to pray always.
Now it's extraordinarily simple. I still pray I love praying the Church's liturgy. I absolutely love it. But as for particular times of prayer, I just get surprised all the time.
Hard not to love a good mystery.